start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all would join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Lofton?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, first up is a public hearing for a substantial modification, 1949 Wolfangle Road. Paul? Are the microphones loud?
I thought so.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Paul. Thank you. Sorry for buying me time to get up to the podium.
The microphones are extra loud.
They are extra loud, so I'll try to stand a little bit farther by. This is a public hearing for substantial modification for Case 1, 2022, Anderson. The location is at 1949 Wolfangle Road. The applicant is Doug Smith of McGill Smith Puncheon on behalf of Beaver Creek Investments for Our Lady of Mercy of Marymount, who is the property owner. The zoning here is CUP, which is Single Family Community Unit Plan. And the request is a modification of two previously placed conditions on the zone change regarding maintaining open space area or maintaining trees in the open space parcel as well as a specific species. And those are conditions number 3 and number 8 of the resolution that approved the zone change. So the open space parcel is approximately 9.57 acres, which is 55.15% open space. The development itself is 35 buildable lots and then 1 open space parcel. So the total is approximately 17 acres, and the net density is 2.03 units per acre. Again, you can see the setbacks that were approved, the lot sizes, etc. But the two items that are primary concern for tonight that the applicant is requesting is number 3, and the language that is struck through is where they are proposing to eliminate, and then the language or the text that is underlined is what they are wishing to keep. So in number 3, it was that the existing woods to remain designation on lots 17 through 35 be extended to preserve any large significant trees, and that the trees on lots 13 through 16 be surveyed for trees where no vegetation is proposed to be planted, and that additional trees be supplemented to provide a buffer. And then number 8, that the landscaping plan submitted with the final development plan include an increase in size of evergreens from 8 feet to 9 feet tall, include a mixture of trees including tulip, poplar, and American basswood, and that the plan notes the ANSI 300 standards for landscaping. During the final development plan review by the Zoning Commission, the applicant stated that those two specific species were difficult to locate, and they were proposing an alternate species, but similar, to achieve the same goal. So the site history, the original zone change occurred in 1982 for the hospital development, and at that time, the area north of the creek was proposed to remain undeveloped. There was a major modification approved in 2012, and then further, before that, there were other minor and major modifications. For this particular development for the Cross Creek subdivision, it started with a pre-submittal meeting in January of 2022. Regional Planning heard the case in February and approved it with conditions. The Zoning Commission approved it in February of 2022 with 9 conditions, and ultimately the trustees approved the zone change at their March 17th, 2022, not 2002 meeting, with the same conditions. So this went to the Anderson Township Zoning Commission for a final development plan review, and as you know, the final development plan review is to ensure consistency with what was presented to the trustees during the zone change. And at that time, staff felt that the conditions previously mentioned were not being met. And so the Zoning Commission went ahead and approved the final development plan, but their approval was based that those same 9 conditions had to be met. The applicant is back before you tonight because they feel like they cannot meet the two conditions they are requesting to be changed. I can explain that further if that wasn't very clear, but, so this
does
is.
this go back then to the zoning?
It will go
again,
back
or-
to the zoning commission for a final development plan review again, based off of your decision tonight.
So it hasn't gone to them before?
It's
On
gone to them.
These two, no,
on-
these two.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
So basically, they went to the zoning commission for final development plan approval. Staff felt that what was presented was not consistent with those two conditions. The zoning commission agreed, but they went ahead and approved the final development plan based off of the conditions, and the revised plans be submitted to meet those conditions. The applicant does not feel like they can do that, so they're back to you tonight to request a modification.
And
So-
they're looking at the same it's gonna be the same number of trees in total, just different species. They don't wanna be stuck with, is that what I'm hearing?
So a couple of different things, and let me go to the landscape plan and maybe I can explain it a little bit better. So this is, just to refresh your memory, this is the site plan, or Cage's drawing. This is the site itself, located off of Wolf Angle. This is Wolf Angle here,
Okay.
the hospital, and then Tower View to the north. This is the aerial view, and again, the White House that's there now. This is the White House and the barn. There is a grassy field, existing grassy field, but the development will clear some of this area through here. This is the topography map, which comes into play with the request to remove that condition. The creek is pretty much the border of the site in question, and then you can see the topography increases in grade to the site itself where the proposed homes are. So this is just the lots depicted on here, lots 1 through 35, and then the open space parcel is the darker gray color. It is all one parcel that is to be maintained by the HOA, and there's a strip of land that is buffering to the north, which is part of the landscaping plan that was submitted. This HOA parcel does not extend on lots 1 through 2, although there is a landscaping easement on lots 1 through 2. This is just a soils map, and it denotes the floodplain associated with the creek itself. And hopefully you can see this in your plan set if it's not clear on the paper. Actually, this denotes it a little bit better. So you can see the curly lines through here. This denotes the the existing woods to remain, and it somewhat delineates the extent of grading. So that area is not to be cleared. This is the proposal based off of the refined grading plan. So it's this area through here, D, on the So once the grading was refined, it was determined that they were not able to increase the existing woods to remain, and actually some of the area was eliminated for more grading outside of the buildable lots. So this area over here that I'm showing on the mouse extends beyond the buildable lots into the open space parcel, and then there's an area over here that also extends beyond the buildable lots. So that was the area in question, and that was the portion of the conditions that staff felt were not consistent. And then the landscaping plan identified a buffer along the northern property line. There were a few trees, existing trees identified to remain, but the majority of the trees were proposed are ornamental trees, and then there are some evergreen trees, evergreen trees as well as shade trees along the northern border line.
But those are all trees.
Correct.
Okay.
A mixture of ornamental and shade trees. So I kept the drone photos in here just so you can see the existing conditions of that wooded edge line, and keep in mind that some of this is already proposed to be removed to get the buildable lots. This is just another vantage point looking toward 5 Mile Road. So you're looking generally in the west, somewhat southwest. I'm sorry, it's going faster. My computer's a little more sensitive. This was just to show you, these are the backs of the lots on Tower View. And this is the edge line. So some of these trees were already proposed to be removed, but then they're requesting to go a little bit farther back into that wood.
Much farther back.
So it's basically the entire lot. The entire building lot would be cleared. And before, there was an area on the building lots that was not proposed to be cleared. But the clearing is required to level those lots off to make them a buildable site because of the topography down to the creek. And I can have the applicant give you specific dimensions.
Well, I can see where some of that might be true. I don't know the topography. I haven't walked the thing, but I could see, it looks like lots 26 through 30 are going more down the hill. But the rest of them, is that true? I mean, all the 17 through 35, that's a lot of lots and a lot of trees.
I was trying to find the grading plan. So yeah, these areas right through here is where additional grading is going to be taking place. And then through these lots here.
Well, I can see those lots because they look like they might be going down the hill more.
Mm-hmm. So I'll finish the presentation and then the applicant may be able to explain this a little bit more detail. So just to refresh your memory, the conditions number 3 and number 8 were in part recommendations from the Township's Tree Committee. And this was text taken from the letter that was submitted to the Zoning Commission and then ultimately to the trustees. It cited concerns of excessive tree removal along the southeastern portion of the site. And then due to the amount of significant mature trees on the site, the members of the tree committee recommended that lots 26 through 30 be removed from the plan, and ultimately the plan was approved with those lots in there. The new configuration would consist of 32 single-family lots. So that's not for consideration tonight, because the development was already approved with those lots. So really, we're stuck with number 3 and number 8 that talks about the existing woods to remain. And then the tree committee also recommended specific species, but again, the applicant has stated those species are very difficult to locate, and they were proposing a similar species, the same shade tree, but a different species.
Did the tree committee have anything to say about their proposed tree species?
We did not route this back to the tree committee.
Okay, I was just curious.
This was the reason that the applicant is requesting a modification due to the necessary grading, unable to expand the woods to remain on these lots. The applicant stated it's difficult to know the exact placement of the homes and the driveways on the smaller lots, and they feel that the proposed buffer outside lots on the open space parcel meets the intent of the condition. Condition number 8 recommends a certain species to be planted in the buffer area to the north, and they noted it was difficult to locate these species and requested that similar substitutions be permitted. So staff's recommendation on this, we do acknowledge the difficulty of complying with the conditions number 3 and 8 now that the grading plan has been refined. Again, it's one of those situations where their preliminary plans did not have the extent of a grading plan that is developed later on in the process. And the conditions that were placed once the final grading plan was done, then that's when they realized that they couldn't meet these conditions. So one of staff's recommendations was, in lieu of the ornamental trees that were proposed, substituting those out for some shade trees to help make up for some of the existing shade trees that would be removed, as well as reforesting some of those grading areas that would go back into the open space area. And then as far as the 2 species, the American basswood and the tulip poplar, staff was in agreement that there are similar species that could be substituted for those that would still meet that intent. So again, the strike-through language is what the applicant is proposing. The underline is what they're proposing to add. The rest of the conditions would remain the same. Did you have any other questions for me? If not, I can let the applicant answer some of your questions.
So would propose that there are some trees that, I mean, staff is proposing that some trees be planted after? Is that what you're saying?
So, yes, and actually, and I forgot, so this is the grading plan again. So you can see the areas that are extending beyond the buildable lots. Specifically over here, this area would be cleared in order to grade to get these lots buildable. Same way over here. So staff is proposing that since trees would be removed in these areas, that these areas would be reforested, not necessarily, you know, plant an ornamental tree, but they would be reforested to help make up for some of the trees that are being removed. And then also along the northern property line, instead of ornamental trees, to replace some of the ornamental trees with shade trees.
Okay, well, I have a question. What is the grade that leads down to that creek? Because, I mean, we're seeing it all over Anderson, these places that were built, and then now trees are falling down into the creek. Like, you take those trees out, that is what's holding a lot of that land in from falling down into the creek.
So there's civil engineers here. I will defer to him on that one. And then I think their landscape architect is also here.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I did, so we did get some plans on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week with a concept of meeting staff's recommendations. So that's what this plan is. It's not in your packet because we just got it earlier. So if the applicant wanted to refer to it, this is how they feel they could meet their staff recommended conditions. So I'm going to take it.
That's what it would look like with the proposed changes to 3 and 8.
It's a possibility,
That's
yes.
what-
But again, that was staff recommended, and that was their response to the recommended conditions.
It's put in those trees over here. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, so it's all this here, because it was ornamental, and now those will be some shade trees there too. And then here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
If the applicant would like to address the board.
Hi, good evening. My name is Doug Smith. I'm with McGill Smith Punchin. Also here tonight is Fred Bollinger, landscape architect with McGill Smith Punchin, and Joe Ferrugia with the Beaver Creek Development LLC. I'd like to thank staff for their comments. I can help clarify, answer questions. The simple thing I can say is we agree with staff's comments or conditions to add. Basically, we're asking that condition 3 and 8 be modified is the way staff presented it. And then staff added a condition 10, which was condition 10 is to add trees in the open space area, shade trees. And we're willing to do that. And they also, part of condition 10 is that we substitute some of the lower growth, smaller planting trees with shade trees on the north property line. And that's what this plan reflects right here. And we're willing to do that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or if you'd like me to explain in more detail about how we got to this process. I guess one question to answer is keep in mind, these lots are several hundred feet away from the creek. The cul-de-sac that extends down, it's only, if I remember right, 3-4 feet above the existing grade. However, when you go out, create a flatter buildable pad and then toe down, it's creating the grade to carry out a little farther, and it carried out in this case with the topography. And then another thing that drives that is the county only allows us to put a street grade in at a certain percentage. We can't do it real steep. We got to do it. They want a drivable grade, so it's flatter. And so when you do apply that to these lots and on this hillside, it pushes that grade down the hill a little farther. And unfortunately, we did have to extend out of the lot area a little bit. And keep in mind on lots, even in condition 3 basically had 2 parts to it. One was to survey the trees and supplement on the north buffer. We did that. We had no problem. We did that on the plan. And then the second part of condition 3 is to try to preserve as many trees as we can on lots 17 through 35. Well, when we got into the grading plan and the allowable street grades, we realized that, we can't really accommodate as much of keeping trees on those lots as we'd like. However, it is our intent, and it's the developer's intent, to keep as many trees as we can. It creates more desirable, more marketable lots, and we can keep some trees in those areas. It's just when it comes, we just can't identify which ones. Because when it comes, we don't know where the house is going, we don't know what side the driveway is going to be on. It's going to be a right-hand side driveway, left-hand side driveway. So therefore, we really couldn't identify exactly what trees we could keep on lots 17 through 35, and therefore that's, again, the reason we've come back for this revision to the condition. Condition 8 is just basically a cleanup condition. Is we're informed that those trees species are hard to get. We just want to supplement them and have some liberty to put similar trees. We're not opposed to putting the trees in. It's just a similar tree that staff can approve that we can readily get. And then condition 10, which is added, again, is to put shade trees down in the open space areas. So, and we're fine with that.
Thanks. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, so if anyone would like to address the board, they may do so at this time. Come on up. Please, you can mask.
Sure, sure. Who is the builder of these homes?
Zika Homes,
Oh, Zika, okay. And what is the value of the homes?
750 plus.
And the border that goes along the homes that are existing, you're saying that those are 30-foot
Landscape buffer.
landscape, I don't forget what you call it.
Landscape buffer.
Buffer, right. And are the trees going to be in that buffer that you're talking about? Shade trees that are going to be in that buffer? Because there's a lot of trees back there.
Right. Now, we're not planning to take out any trees, and I think a lot of those trees are not on our property. And we're planning on doing that landscape plan that is up on the screen. It's pretty heavy buffer, and it has a lot of different types of trees.
That's within the 30, across the top?
Yes.
Within the 30 feet?
Yes.
And you're saying there's a lot of existing trees. There are existing trees that way, as I'm looking at the map.
Right,
So
further to
there's
the
existing trees down here. The homes that are up on this end of Tower View, there are not
There aren't,
existing trees,
right.
maybe a few tall trees, but they're not in that.
We
Buffer.
want, probably what you want is we want to put in a nice buffer between the property lines. And that's why we have that landscape plan. And that's a pretty dense landscape plan.
Because
There's a lot of different varieties, so it's not just one type of tree, it's a lot of different varieties.
Because if you're identifying, I'm sorry, putting it back to you, but I want to talk to you. If you're identifying shade trees, shade trees, when you first put them in, are basically sticks with some green on the top.
Well,
And you can see straight through them. That's my concern, as to what kind of buffer we're talking here.
I would like to ask Fred Bowling, he's with Smith Munchen, he's a landscape architect, and he can explain the different types of trees and the size of the trees that we're proposing. And I think someone brought that up, or Paul had brought it up, that we're putting in 8 to 10 foot trees of some sort. Fred could address it in more detail. I'm Fred.
Ma'am, hold on. Could you
I'm
state
sorry.
your name and address? for
Oh,
the
I'm
record?
Karen Miller. Oh, geez.
I know.
I live on Tower View, 7473.
Okay, thank you.
And that's my backyard. So, which is very private right now, which is not going to be private once these houses are built. And that's what I'm trying to assess, what kind of a impact this is going to have on our home. We have a huge backyard that's all private, and that's,
Hopefully we're not going to see each other.
yes, I hope never to see you, that's right. Well.
Fred, if you want to address the landscaping?
Thank you.
I am Fred Bowling with McGill Smith Punchon, MSP Design, landscape architect. To address the question, across the top there, we initially put in some shade trees to augment the existing evergreens and other shade trees that are up there. We also put a lot of the lower, smaller flowering trees, which would give more of a buffer, but we were given back on the last meeting that they wanted more shade trees in there. So we replaced 15 of the ornamental flowering smaller trees with 15 shade trees. But there still is a pretty good mix. There's 25 flowering trees which stay small. And I'd have to check my note here. We've got 14, those are shrubs. I'm looking for trees. Evergreen trees, we have 20, 32, we have 38 evergreen trees going in along up there. So we got pretty heavy planting of evergreen and flowering to give you a year-round mix of a variety of colors and fragrances and so on. And again, we've augmented the shade trees to get more of a repopulation of the shade trees, which are going to be taken off of the lower part. So we're trying to give it as good a mix as we could possibly get up there and provide as much of a balance between all these different goals as we could. So I don't know if that helps or not, but we can show you the plan afterwards as well, if you like.
Thanks, Fred. Any other comments? All right. Paul, you have something else to?
No, just the only thing I wanted to reiterate is that this is a substantial modification just to consider those conditions before you. The rest of the plan has already been approved. And the final development plan has been approved by the zoning commission. But,
Right.
so the things to consider tonight. So, condition number 3, again, the language is struck through that is proposed. Condition number 8, the added language is underlined, and condition number 10, which also should be underlined, that the landscaping plan be modified to include additional shade trees in lieu of some of the ornamental trees in the buffer area to the north, as well as include additional shade trees. So those 3 conditions right there is what is under consideration.
Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, 8 and 10, I don't have any problem with 8 and 10. I'm more than a little concerned about 3, because like when we were here before, like trees, the whole conversation about the trees, that was part of the tree committee, you know, said 26 through 30, and then it went through staff. They didn't even, because there were, in their words, significant sized trees on there. But we were assured, well, we're going to do our best to keep some of these big trees on all these lots. And now, lots 17 through 35, that's 18 lots. That's a lot of lots. That sounds like we're clear cutting. That, you know, we're saying it's, you know, I want more than just some, like, we'll do our best. I mean, that's a lot of trees. So that's, I don't know, I just find it concerning because we agreed on something and now we're coming back. It's like, well, that's not going to work. So
I will say, everything was agreed upon. This is not, I mean, with the understanding that all of these developments go through a much more intense scrutiny once it is approved. So, I mean, yes, that was the original plan, but it's not like plans don't, I mean,
I know
we've been up here
plans
before,
change.
we've
I know.
had modifications before us before.
But a lot of times that's because it goes to the county and the county's saying, and this is, like, this topography has not changed. It was the same topography as when you came before.
But there was no grading plan then. I mean, I'm
think
just, I'm
that's where
saying.
it, you know, now we've got the grading here that's a concern. I think that's where I was kind of going with about how many trees will be replaced. You know, if this whole side there is going to be cleared out, and I wasn't sure if there was a number, like a goal number of how many trees, or is it just based on the look?
I don't think we have a specific number. There was a number, Mr. Bowling pointed out, of the ornamentals that would be replaced with
Right.
shade trees, but as far as the number of trees removed versus the number of trees. And again, it
Not so
won't be
much
a one-for-one
removed,
because
right.
we're dealing with mature trees versus
Sure.
new trees. So it won't be a one-for-one. But I don't know that we have an exact number of trees that are going to be removed.
I think another thing to point out, Dee and Lexi, the areas, the shaded areas on that grading plan that they're talking about taking out more trees, that is kind of worst-case scenario. So this language allows them to do that, but
That's a good point, yeah.
But, I forget who mentioned it, maybe it was you, Doug. I mean, there's clearly going to be an effort, I would think, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, to try and save as many trees to get to 750 grand to buy those houses, so they're not staring into Mercy's parking lot or the back of their building.
Trees are valuable, that's my point.
I get it,
Yeah.
I get it.
That's what I mean, so they're gonna, I mean, I can't,
We want to save as many trees as we
Right.
I don't think clear cutting is,
And we're not. In some of the lots, I mean, there are some lots in there where the lots can't get space.
right.
But,
And there's some clearing, and I can't see the numbers exactly what I'm saying here. Lots,
I can't read it.
looks like lots 23, 22, 23, 24. We're not, we're gonna save as many trees.
Okay, well, that's the ones I'm really, it's like, those seem to be
There's no
up
grading
front.
in that.
Well, let me
Right,
ask another
okay.
question, maybe for Fred. So the areas that you are going to clear out more of and replace, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that area does have a bunch of like honeysuckle in it and things, and the trees you're putting back in are actually better, more sustainable trees than the invasive species that are there today. Is that a fair
Intentional.
statement, or is that, am I?
That's a true statement.
All right.
Yeah, the trees that will be, so this is what I like about 10, right, is that you've got intentional trees, shade trees that are, after the tree committee, I don't use the term native, but trees that are gonna be significantly valuable to that property over time versus what's potentially there that might be some invasive species. So that's a good point as far as the viability of that for long-term and those trees lasting there.
And I guess my point is,
That's a good point.
22, 23, 24, 20, those are the lots up front. And if I'm not very good at reading these, but if I look at the topography, those look flatter to me.
Yeah.
Those are up front.
Yeah.
Okay, almost to me, like, I would like to even pull those, are there some that we could even pull out from 17 to, I want some assurances that some of these lots are going to just have that there will be some, we're trying to save some of these significant trees. I see 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. We already agreed that you can build on those lots. It's going down the hill. I get it on those. But some of these other ones, it's like,
I'll be on the corner of 17, there's a back corner back there, we're not grading back there. There's trees that can be saved on 17.
Are you-
19,
Are you referring to the grading plan or the landscaping plan? Because they're a little different.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't know that.
So this is the grading
Grading
plan,
plan, yeah.
and then this is the area not to be disturbed. So I think it's good that we're referring to the same one.
Here, I can
Yeah.
bring this up and.
Yeah, come on
go-
up.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so you know, because the area that is being graded, obviously
throw it
there
right
will
on
be
top.
no trees.
So, the darker lines are the.
Yeah, that's
the proposed
20,
grade.
yeah.
That's the proposed grade.
yeah.
So, for instance, 16, I mean, you come in here and you place a house,
Right.
all these, there's some trees up in here that can remain, there's some trees here that can
Okay.
remain on 17. 19, we're grading down to here, so there's trees back here that can remain. There's trees in here that can remain on 20, 21. And then, like I said, but the house construction is gonna take some of these out, but you could still preserve all this
That's
area
great.
here.
That makes a big
That's
difference.
what.
Because people like to see too, not just baby trees.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure, I understand. And then even here, I mean, these are the rear yard setbacks.
This is good.
Mhm.
And so here, this could remain natural. And here, so those are the areas where we're not clearing. We had to do this extensive grading in order to get buildable lots.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Doug, can you, for the folks in the audience, what lots are you referring to? So maybe we can
show on the screen above?
The rear of lot 17, up in the upper northwest corner.
Yeah, right
A
there.
little higher, Paul.
Yeah.
Up in
Wrapping
that
around
corner.
the north boundary.
And then on lots 19, Paul dropped down a little bit. There's an area right
It's
there.
hard to see that on this
Yeah.
tiny
Yeah,
map.
it is.
Yeah.
Right in there with those trees, we're not clearing to that, we're not clearing all the way to the property line, so those trees will remain. And then as you go on 20 and 21, there's that little,
That little,
right there.
yeah, right.
And then as you go to 23 and 24, we're really not grading much on those. It's just the house pad and clearing for the house, but, depending on where the house is, and we'll try to save as many trees as we can, but definitely the rear of lots 23 through 24, we can save quite a substantial amount of trees. So,
That's great.
and then as you go even further, 31, we're not doing much grading on that, which is on the east side of the
right.
cul-de-sac.
Mhm.
And then the same thing down here. We got
Yeah, I
a
see.
small area in here, and then a small area in here where there's trees. Henry?
Ms. Stone, if I could add, just over the years, I pulled Paul aside to ask him, because we've had this difficulty. Once the subdivision is established and they start building homes and people move in, trees come down. And so we can sit here and talk about our efforts, but whether they're harmed, whether they're damaged, whether there's pools, whether there's,
That's a good point.
And so I understand that. I just want to say it's one of the difficulties we run into when we start regulating what we can do on private lots. The open space is the area I think that staff historically focuses on, and I know we've had this Sanctuary of Ivy Hills. I know we've had several developments that had restrictions on private property before, and it's incredibly difficult to enforce because we're not out there when people are cutting down trees.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I just,
I understand what you're saying, and there's a difference, but the other part of that I will say is hiking that at length several times now, there's a lot of honeysuckle on the backs of some of those as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's
And
one of the
that's fair
more,
enough, but-
yeah.
No, thank you
invaded
for
areas.
showing that.
yes, thank
Mark,
you.
that's, it looks totally different, bigger, and I could really see.
that's helpful.
Yeah, thank you. I
All
don't
right.
have any other
Paul, anything
questions.
else?
I have nothing further.
Any other questions,
I
the
don't.
board? We do have a resolution for consideration.
Okay. I move to approve and adopt a substantial modification to conditions number 3 and number 8 of the zone change resolution number 22-0317-01 for case 1-2022 Anderson for the property located at 1949 Wolf Angle Road.
Did you also want to include condition
Yes,
number
so
10?
Where's 10? Yeah.
You can
Oh,
add
yes,
number
We
and
can add that.
condition 10.
Yeah. Okay. Second,
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Roy.
Do your best.
We will.
Thank
We
you.
will.
I want you on site.
I would be on there hard. I would be hiking that site.
Okay, moving on, presentations. Denise from the Public Library is here. Welcome back.
Hello, Denise.
Hello. Hi. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations for being reelected, and congratulations on your election, because I haven't seen you all in a long time.
I know. That's true. It's been a couple of
Been a
years.
couple, yeah, it has.
I'm Denise Gretchen. I'm the manager at the Anderson Library, 7450 State Road. And we did go through a refresh. We still get a lot of people that come into the branch that are surprised by the changes at the branch. We went through some changes last summer. We've got new carpet and paint throughout, and a children's room with upgrades with a STEM vehicle and a playhouse. We actually made Southwest Ohio Magazine's top 12 for kid-friendly places to visit. We have a quiet room that was sponsored by our Anderson Township Library Association. That's our friends group, and that room has a fireplace, and it's very cozy, and it's nestled next to an area with trees. And we've also got 3 enclosed study areas, so people can reserve those rooms. We're getting a lot of activity that way with the study rooms for meeting space or just quiet space. And our seating is now modular, so it's easy to move around. So if people do want to work in groups out on the floor, they can. And I just want the residents to check out our website at cincinnatilibrary.org and be mindful of some of the programs that we're bringing back. We're starting to increase capacity for programming. We've got a Cozy Corner book club that meets the last Wednesday every month at 7. We're going to be discussing Murder at the Mansion by Sheila Connolly. We also have Try It Out Tuesdays, which is a program for adults. It's a craft program, so space is limited. We ask that people register there. And we're in initial stages of planning programs for the library's Future Ready initiative, which is an initiative to help prepare teens for the future. We're having the organization 1 and 5 come to Anderson July 14th and 28th at 2 p.m. It's going to be a 2-part series that's going to focus on the strengths of teens and their support systems and how to help them tap into the resiliency that they may not realize already exists for them. And I'd like to invite people to make their donations for our Anderson Township Association book sale. It's going to be at Nagel Middle School this year. It's going to be Friday, June 24th, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday the 25th from 10 to 5 p.m., and Sunday noon to 3. And I'd also like to say thanks to everyone that already supports and makes their donations. If you've got a lot to drop off, you can pull past the drive-through service window, knock on the door, and someone will come and meet you. And our children's librarian, well, she's now called Branch Supervisor Youth Services, so we've had some title changes at the library, is going to come up and talk about summer reading or our Discover Summer program.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Megan Hartley, and I'm the Branch Supervisor, Youth Services over at the Anderson Library. A study by Scholastic recently found that it was a study of 3rd to 5th graders. They lose 20% of the reading skills that they gained during the school year during summertime. That's where our library's annual summer reading program comes in. This year, Discover Summer is focused on building an intrinsic love of reading through a journey of self-discovery for ages birth to 18. The way it works is simple. Starting on June 1st, families can come in, and all they need to do to be considered a participant is to pick up one of our booklets along with a free prize book just for coming in. Our booklets contain prompts that are meant to spark enthusiasm and interest and to help children discover what it is they're passionate about learning. So you can check in as often or as little as you'd like, but as long as you come in one more time before August 1st, you can be registered for our grand prize drawings that happen at the beginning of August. Every time you check in, you can get a button badge, and in between you can read, learn, get ideas of things to do from the prompts in the booklets, and just have fun with all the extra time that the kids have off during the summer. There's also a reading app that they can use that's more for people to personally track their reading. It's not, you don't have to do it to be part of the summer program. And families can set goals for how many days they want to read during the summer. In addition to that, we have 3 story times a week. 2 are on Mondays and 1 is on Thursdays. I encourage you to go to cincinnatilibrary.org to check those out, the dates and times. We also will be having a special program every Tuesday at 2 o'clock that's family oriented, starting at the beginning of June. That includes balloon art, magician, not musician, and live animals. So once again, if you go to cincinnatilibrary.org, you can see all of our offerings, and I hope to see you all at the library this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots going on.
Yes. Thanks for the reminders about the summer reading program. That's something I have vivid memories of being a little girl and walking to the Madisonville Library and letting them know how many books I read, and we were all so excited about that, and it's free, which is something very positive. Thanks for sharing that.
It's a good program.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right, public forum, if anyone would like to address the board on any topic, they may do so at this time. See anybody rushing up here, so move on to trustee comments. Dee, Lexi, anything to add?
Well, just a reminder that it's still May, and it's still Mental Health Awareness Month, so you still have an opportunity to, the library even,
Yes.
to wear green and post it on social media with the hashtag Mental Health Matters. We're trying to get all of Anderson Township and all the businesses to participate. We've done it as township staff. I know the school district, they all were wearing stickers last night at their board meeting. And the Park District has done it, so. Just Mental Health Awareness Month in Anderson Township. Just want to remind everyone of that.
Thanks, Dee. The more we talk about it, the more it helps with reducing the stigma. So,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, thank you.
All right. Ken, I think you're up.
Thank you. The financial reports are through the month of April, so it's 1/3 of the year. Revenues, obviously, because we had the first half real estate tax collections early this year, are well above 50%, but we'll get another, I think the tax bills will be going out in a couple weeks, and they'll be due probably around June the 20th, and we'll get another onslaught of receipts in at that time, which is obviously our biggest financial revenue source. So in speaking of that, I would just like to say, when you get your tax bill in Anderson Township, you'll see some of the disbursements and where the money goes, but just a quick review on residential property, which is almost 90% of our property in Anderson. The residential percent of property taxes by entity, and that means like the school districts and that, Forest Hills Local School District receives about 54% of the dollars collected. The other 46% go to Hamilton County, 19%, and there's a lot of agencies there. Mental health is one of them, the zoo. They all get a little bit of that. Anderson Township's portion is 16.4%. And then we have some other entities. Anderson Park District is 2.8%. Hamilton County Parks is 2.5%, and the public library is 2.4%. So that adds up to 99.9%. So I don't know where the other 0.1%.
That goes to you, Ken.
It's a rounding problem.
Somebody's.
But I mean, just so the people know, who gets the money.
Yeah.
And that's obviously residential. When you add commercial properties in, it changes that percentage just a little bit, because there are only like less than 10, or about 10% of the properties are commercial, the values. So I just thought it would be a little information to pass on to our taxpayers. Our expenditures as of right now are very low because we have a lot of projects that are coming due with the summer and everything, all the road construction, curbs, and that will pick up. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be under budget for that, and we almost always are. So we have no appropriation changes, and that's a good thing. Probably will have some a little later in the year, but none for tonight. And then I think we have some minutes to approve.
Where are hang on,
Maybe one set of minutes.
where is it?
So first, the appropriation changes and then the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from March, where is it? Sorry, March 3rd, 2022.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Margaret, anything on the law front?
report?
Good. Paul, you're back up.
Thank you. The two items under our department pertain to the Clough Pike corridor, and these are both requests to apply for grants for two different projects. Both of these have been before you in the past for different funding sources. However, those funding sources were unsuccessful, so we're trying a different route this year. The first project is at Clough and 8 Mile, and we have preliminarily designed turn lanes from 8 Mile to Clough Pike to help ease traffic at that intersection. And this was ranked a high priority project out of our Clough Pike study. So in the past, we did a OPWC grant, and again, that was unsuccessful. So this year, we would like to apply for an OKI Surface Transportation Block Grant, STBG grant. So we do have a resolution before you for your consideration, which would authorize the grant application as well as committing local matching funds.
Just to be clear, we're a left turn lane on 8 Mile, you said, onto Clough?
Correct. It would be, yes, in both directions.
In both directions?
Correct.
Okay.
'Cause right
I'm
now
sorry,
that's
it's a
where we
right
can-
turn lane.
It's a right turn, I'm sorry, yes, right turn
Adding
lane.
right turn lanes
Right.
off of 8 Mile.
Off of 8 Mile onto
Clough.
Clough.
On in both directions? then?
Yes.
Correct.
Is
Okay.
this picture still right? Because there was this here, this is still correct, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The basic
So
concept
it's here.
is to,
Yeah, I see it, okay.
the right turn lanes off 8 Mile add more green time to Clough Pike.
Yeah.
You can move more traffic.
Yeah.
It's Same concept as we did the improvements at the CFI Beachmont and
Yeah,
5 Mile
yeah.
on 5 Mile to help Beachmont.
Those are very helpful.
Yeah, it gets so backed up there
Mhm.
in every direction. Okay,
Especially for children.
let's see here. I move to authorize grant application to construct intersection improvements at Clough Pike and 8 Mile Road and committing local matching funds.
Second,
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. The second project is located at the Clough and Newtown Road intersection, and this also includes a sidewalk connection. So the sidewalk connection would be, Harmony has constructed a sidewalk across their frontage. We would pick up in both directions of that, tie their existing sidewalk to the Newtown, where it currently ends at the Woods of Turpin Apartments, as well as go in the other direction toward Copperleaf. So those, the sidewalk is part of this project, as well as turn lanes, if you're on Clough, onto Newtown, as well as into the Woods of Turpin Apartments. So it would be for the turn lanes as well as the sidewalk. Same funding source. We are requesting a 50-50 match on this, though. The previous one was an 80-20 match. We
So
feel
right-
that it would score better with this
so that one's
approach.
going to be right in front of,
The intersection is at Newtown and Clough.
yeah,
in the
but
woods.
so is it right in front of the Historical Society property, or is that?
No,
what we're
it's
talking-
further down.
Oh, further down.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
by the, by Newtown Road, not at
Oh,
Bartles.
I'm thinking of Bartles.
Right,
Okay,
no,
okay,
so this
never-
would be down
sorry,
by
sorry,
Newtown
sorry.
Road, yes.
Yeah, I always get those confused. Okay, I see what we're talking. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I'm like,
Nothing at
really? You're
Bartles,
going to
no.
the Historical Society?
No.
It's like, good on you.
no.
It's like-
Well, I mean, it was through about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
It
okay,
was-
okay, it's like, wait, okay, sorry about that. Okay, any other questions?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing grant application to construct intersection improvements at Clough Pike and Newtown Road and Anderson Trails Link along Clough Pike from Newtown Road to Copperleaf Drive and committing local matching funds.
Second,
Mrs. Lawson?
yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank
Where's
you.
the speed up? Is this the old
Lieutenant?
Sunoco?
What?
Is this the old Sunoco?
Good evening. You have before you two liquor license requests. The first one being a liquor license transfer request for Speed Up 2 LLC located at 6090 Salem Road. That's Sunoco.
That's the Sunoco?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And we're okay with this?
Yeah, they have had some violations, but not enough to warrant
Okay.
That's for sale.
protest, I guess, is what
It
you would
is?
say.
Okay.
They're not changing anything. It's going to be standard procedure. I spoke with them with a little language problem, but 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. is their normal hours during the week, 6 to 1 on Friday and Saturday, and 7 to 12 on Sundays, I believe. Yes.
Are they changing their name?
Changing ownership.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
must have sold.
Company is Speed Up 2 LLC is the new one. It was,
Sunoco.
well, it was Gruel and Sons
Yeah,
Sunoco.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I move not to object to a liquor license transfer request for Speed Up 2 LLC located at 6090 Salem Road.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
The second one is a liquor license transfer request for Mary's Clubhouse LLC, located at 6520 Batavia Pike. I did visit that one as well, and that is a transfer from mother to daughter.
Okay.
Mary to Sarah. Sarah, right? I was just talking. Angie, sorry.
What's that?
But it's going to stay the same, just
Stay the same,
same
just daughter's
business.
taking over.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it a clubhouse?
Are you the owner?
Oh, okay, hi.
Hi.
It's a nice place.
Is it,
I haven't been there.
okay, me neither.
You can drive golf balls, play pickleball.
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Oh.
We're also a driving range.
And we'll put,
My mom's been there since '97, so maybe
Wow.
25 years this July. And she's having some health issues, and she's getting older and wants to retire, and I've been there at least 22 years.
So you know what you're
So
doing.
this is very important to me, and I love
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
There, I mean, I'm
The
interested.
Park District owns
The
the
Park
property.
District owns
Yeah.
the property.
Ah,
They rent it from them.
I see.
So they
Okay.
took ownership, I think, about 10 years ago.
Oh, so this is the one right down there.
Mm-hmm.
Right by the park.
Oh. Batavia Pike threw me off.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's-
That's what threw me off. I was like, where? Okay.
Okay.
Now I know where you are.
A lot of
Great.
people don't know it's in Anderson, but
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
Okay, good. Any
See you, Angie.
other questions?
I don't have any.
I move not to object to a liquor license transfer request for Mary's Clubhouse LLC DBA Mary's Clubhouse located at 6520 Batavia Pike.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
I call that property.
Thank you.
thank you.
There's several names. Public Works? All right. Fire and Rescue? Great. So Vicky, Steve, whoever wants to start.
Yep, 12A through D will be Mr. Magna,
I mean, Mr. Magna.
and then Mr. Severs will have E, and I'll finish up.
Make it quick, Mark.
Pardon?
Nothing.
What about 11A?
So it'll be a little smoother, I think. The first item we have for the board consideration is a motion to award the design services for the Fire Station 6 driveway replacement. We contacted 5 civil design firms and received 2 design proposals to produce bidding and construction documents. They're attached to the motion. The low proposal was submitted by Choice One Engineering, a firm with whom we've worked and are currently working with and have had a positive experience. We reviewed the proposals for completeness and recommend board acceptance of the Choice One Engineering proposal for the Fire Station 6 driveway replacement, the amount of $8,900. Furthermore, a 10% contingency of $890 is recommended to cover reimbursables. Any geotechnical exploration for this project will be performed by Geotechnology through our master services agreement, upon which the board has previously approved. Upon completion of bid documents, staff will proceed with bidding and at a future meeting present recommendation for award. I can answer any questions.
We have a motion.
Yes. I move that this board hereby accept the proposal of $8,900 from Choice One Engineering for the Fire Station 6 driveway replacement, together with a 10% contingency for a maximum appropriation of $9,790 funded from 1994 TIF funds. And further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the Township Administrator, after consultation with the Law Director, to enter in a contract with Choice One Engineering for the Fire Station 6 driveway replacement.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item for your consideration is a motion to award design services for the maintenance garage and Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, District 5 office roof replacement. We contacted 4 architectural design firms and received 2 design proposals to produce bidding construction documents, and those proposals are attached to the motion. The low proposal was submitted by KBA Incorporated, a firm who we've worked in the past and have a positive experience. We reviewed the proposals for completeness and recommend board acceptance of KBA Incorporated proposal for the maintenance garage, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, District 5 sheriff roof replacement in the amount of $10,700 with a 10% contingency of $1,070 to cover any reimbursables. And again, upon completion of bid documents, staff will proceed with bidding, and at a future board meeting, present recommendation for award. I can answer any questions you might have.
I don't have any.
Josh? Nope. I move that this board hereby accept the proposal of $10,700 from KBA Incorporated for maintenance garage, HCSO District 5 sheriff roof replacement, together with a 10% contingency for a maximum appropriation of $11,770 funded from 1994 TIF funds. And further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the Township Administrator, after consultation with the Law Director, to enter into contract with KBA Incorporated for the maintenance garage, HCSO District 5 sheriff roof replacement.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item, motion for your consideration, is to award the Holiday Hills Drive and Clough Pike Sidewalk project. On May 10th, staff opened bids, and you have a copy of the results. The published estimate for this work was $125,000, and the recommended bid totals $122,142.50. We reviewed the bids for completeness and content to establish the best and lowest responsive bidder. Based on this analysis, we recommend award of the project to Fred A. Neiman Company in the amount of $122,142.50, with a 10% contingency of $12,214 to cover any unforeseen conditions that outside the scope of the work. There are 1994 TIF funds in place to cover this expenditure in purchase orders 28,979 and 28,978 from 2021. Do you have any questions?
I don't. Do you have questions? Okay, I move that this board hereby accepts the bid of $122,142.50 from Fred A. Newman Company, deemed to be the best and lowest responsive bidder for the Holiday Hills Drive and Clough Pike Sidewalk project in accordance with the bid plans and specifications, together with a 10% contingency for a maximum appropriation of $134,356.50 from funds currently secured in purchase orders using 1994 TIF funds. Further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the Township Administrator to give timely notice of award to the contractor and, after consultation with the Law Director, to enter in a contract with Fred A. Newman Company in accordance with their bid for the Holiday Hills Drive and Clough Pike Sidewalk project.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. And last but not least, you have a motion to award the Bartles Road Sidewalk project. Again, on May 10th, staff opened bids. You have the results at the motion. The published estimate for the work was $105,000, and the recommended bid totals $106,051.73. The contract may be awarded as the bid is not in excess of 10% above the construction estimate. Staff reviewed the bid for content and completeness to establish the best and lowest responsible bidder. Based on this analysis, we recommend award of the project to Pruce Construction Company in the amount of $106,051.73. Furthermore, a 10% contingency of $10,605 is recommended to cover unforeseen conditions outside the scope of work. Approximately $87,000 of the proposed expense for this project is in an existing purchase order, 28,923 from the 2021 TIF budget, and there are sufficient funds in the 2022 TIF budget allocated for Anderson Trails for the remaining portion of the project. I can answer any questions.
Okay. Like 73 cents, okay.
Yeah. almost
I
72
move that the
cents.
board hereby accepts the bid of $106,051.73 from Pruce Construction Company deemed to be the best and lowest responsive bidder for the Bartles Road Sidewalk project in accordance with the bid plans and specifications, together with a 10% contingency for a maximum appropriation of $116,656.73 from funds currently secured in purchase orders using 1994 TIF funds. Further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the township administrator to give timely notice of award to the contractor, and after consultation with the law director, to enter into contract with Pruce Construction Company in accordance with their bid for the Bartles Road Sidewalk project.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Thank you. Want me to take the rest of it for you, too?
It's just going, I just think it's funny the way they didn't do it.
Mark, you can finish up? You're going to finish? Okay. Oh, it's okay, you don't have the
Andrew,
materials.
we're
Then we'll pick up.
I know, I did that well.
You
didn't I?
did.
We mentioned earlier one of our advisory committees, the tree committee, and the recommendations they have. Another one of our township volunteer committees is the Economic Development Committee. One of the initiatives the committee has set forth for 2022 is to revisit the hotel project and trying to attract a hotel to the community. This is something we started up, and we actually had our market study done in 2019. And so much has changed since then. One of the changes, of course, was a global pandemic. The other change we have, of course, is we sold the land behind us, and as we sat here tonight, the crane did go up on the site behind us. And so one of the two sites we had in that feasibility study is no longer an option. So before the board, we have a proposal from HVS, who completed our prior study, to basically update that. If we are indeed going to do outreach and put our efforts into this, we need a kind of a vital living document that is fresh off the press. And HVS indicated they could do this. The board agrees. We could commence here probably by the end of the month and have something by the end of the summer to be able to help with that committee's efforts and staff's efforts to attract a hotel here to Anderson Township. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer that. HVS's proposal is attached, and this is a firm that was highly recommended to us initially and still is. They do work for the private sector that is looking to invest, so who better to go to than one of their own?
Okay. I move to authorize the township administrator, after consultation with the law director, to enter into contract with HVS for a hotel feasibility study in an amount not to exceed $14,000, including a 10% contingency of $1,400.
Second,
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
That's not, did we get a new one or something? Never mind,
Would you?
nothing. That's not what my resolution said.
Okay, and the final two items that we have for the board's consideration, the first of which, as the board does every December, it set its organizational structure for 2022. At that time, we had recommended that the board continue to keep these third Thursday meetings of the board at 5 o'clock, with the public portion starting at 5:30. We had also recommended the interim workshop meeting, which happens on the first Thursday of every month, begin at 3 p.m. We have since recommended that start time be changed back to 2 p.m., and there is a resolution in your packet that would authorize that change.
I move to adopt a resolution amending resolution number 21-12-16-21 to reflect an earlier commencement time of the board's regular interim workshop meetings during the remainder of fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Thank
That
you.
starts next month, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I was on the fence about it.
Were you?
Okay. And the next item is to request appointments of township staff to OKI, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments Intermodal Coordinating Committee. The ICC provides technical advice and assistance to the Technical Studies Director and staff of OKI regarding regional planning, land use, transportation, air quality, engineering, open space, and special purpose projects. They also prepare recommendations to the Executive Committee and the Board of Directors of OKI's Council. In the past, Mr. Sievers has served as the township's representative on the ICC last year, and Mr. Drury has served as the alternate. Last year, the board, at staff's request, appointed Brad Bowers as the ICC alternate simply because of his role in the Transportation Advisory Committee. So both of those gentlemen have expressed a desire to continue should the board wish to reappoint them. There is a motion before you.
I move to appoint Steve Sievers as Anderson Township's representative on the Intermodal Coordinating Committee of the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments, and Brad Bowers as alternate for fiscal year 2023, both to be installed by the OKI president.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all we have this evening.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Next meeting in this room will be June 16th, and
Thank
with that,
you.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yep. Thanks again, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.